So if you find yourself feeling like you've done all the things to improve your chances of making a sale online and yet it's really not working, I really want you to listen to this video because when I was an Etsy seller, I was totally failing to do this with my product listings. And I see so many makers doing the same thing too. And I think if they were to make this change to their product listings, it would make it so much easier to sell their products online. So if you want to know what that is, stay tuned. And before we jump into it, I first just want to say hello. My name is Imelda Jimenez Samar, and I'm a product photography coach helping handmade sellers learn how to shoot product photos that sell online. And when I was a former Etsy seller, I really struggled to sell my work online. I was selling photo products, and I was just like you, just trying to figure out the whole thing. However, one thing that I really understood much later on that I think was really missing from my listings, apart from improving my SEO, improving my photos, and so on, is my listings were really boring. If you are looking at your product listings and you're reading through the descriptions, you're looking through the photos, are you focusing a lot on the facts of your products, or are you talking a little bit more about how that product is going to make somebody feel? If you are focusing on the former and not really getting into the emotion and feelings of how your product is going to change your customer's life, you're really missing out on a major opportunity, which I'm going to talk all about in this video. So there's this really great quote from a well-known marketing I don't know, a well-known marketing person who's been around for years and years named Zig Ziglar. And the quote says, logic makes people think and emotions make people act. And I think this is something to really remember when you are writing your product descriptions, you're photographing your products, you're writing your social media captions and doing your post. Because you have to remember that you're marketing to human beings, not robots. And human beings have feelings and emotions, and they aren't necessarily just going to be swayed by the color options that you have for your product or the dimensions. You need to tap in a little bit deeper to really connect to your customers. So I want to talk a little bit about a kind of logic driven buyer and a emotion driven buyer, because these are two really important aspects to keep in mind when you are talking about your product and so on. So the first thing is that a logic driven buyer is probably somebody who really loves researching when it comes to making a purchase. They have very specific needs that they're looking to have fulfilled when buying a product. There may be a special event, there may be just something going on that is driving them to want to buy something. They also are the type of person who is looking at all the specs. They want all the information about your product. They want to know all the different color options. They want to know if it's customizable, you know, and what that would mean. What could they have customized that is important to them. I would say they're also very price driven. They want to make sure that they're getting the best quality product for the best value. They look for deals, and I would say in summary, like that's what a logic driven buyer is looking for when they're, you know, shopping online. On the flip side, the emotion driven buyer is very isn't always, but is easily influenced by things that they see or things that they hear, whether it's from friends or family or social media. They may not need to buy something for a specific reason, right? It oftentimes is to fulfill an emotion. And they also are not always very price driven. They're not necessarily like shopping for the best price, but they're so focused on the emotion and how buying that thing is going to help them feel. So I want you just to kind of think about, maybe how you are a customer. Maybe when you're buying certain things, are you emotional or are you more logic? And the thing is that we use both emotion and logic to buy things. There's an interesting uh, kind of stat I saw online where it said that emotions drive 80% of our purchases, which to me is like mind-boggling, right? I don't really think many of us think about how much emotion plays into what we buy and what we do. But if you think about it, everything that we do in life is driven by some type of emotion, whether it's to feel better or feel a certain way, or to take away like pain or like negativity. We want to like do something to like help pull us out of that. So shopping is not really any different than that. So I think it's really important to remember that yes, you are marketing to human beings who have feelings and emotions. This is why selling just on logic and just talking about that in your product listings may not help move customers to want to buy from you. So, something to keep in mind. So, I want to kind of interject here really quick with something that I think is really important to talk about when you're thinking about marketing, because marketing is a part of selling your crafts online. How else are you going to sell your work, right? You have to tell people about what you're doing. And one of the things that I know a lot of makers feel a little weird about is marketing. You don't want to come off as this like sleazy, salesy person, and marketing can make you just really resistant to putting your work out there. And I want to remind you that the world would be incredibly boring if we didn't have the creative people that we do, right? We wouldn't have film, we wouldn't have movies, we wouldn't have, art and like museums, we wouldn't have, like public art spaces and all of these things if people weren't supportive of it, and if there weren't creatives out there who are willing to put their work out there, because it adds value to the world and it adds value to your customers. So I want you to really think about how much your work really does matter, and not to think about it as, oh, I'm just trying to like get money from people and prey on their like emotions. I think that if you're coming at it from a authentic, um, uh, like real place of I want to share my work with the world, I think customers will really see that and value you. And I think when you are able to really understand what your customer is going through, how they feel, and what their needs are, that helps create connection, right? That helps build relationships with customers who resonate with your work. And when you do that, it makes it easier for them to want to support you, whether it's actually buying from you, whether it's sharing your content, whether it's sharing your business with somebody who may really like your work and really want to, buy from you. So I want you just to remember that it's your duty to share your work with the world. Don't deprive the world and customers because you don't want to sell and you don't want to prey on their emotions. I think when you tap into who your customer is, it's a lot easier to sell, but it's also a better way to create a really great customer fan base of people who are just want to be your cheerleader and be your support system as you grow your business, as you create new products. And I think that really makes a difference. I think we can all think of at least one brand, whether it's, a small business or, maybe even something larger, that we feel connected to, that we really feel like, even though they may be really good at marketing, that we don't feel like we're being marketed to, if you get what I'm saying. I think we all know what it feels like to be marketed to. in a way that doesn't feel authentic. And I think that is very often with brands and with people we just don't resonate with. So remember that it's important to sell your work, to put your work out there, and to remember that when you are creating, when you are writing your product descriptions, when you are photographing your products, that your work matters and needs to be out in the world. There are people out there who want to support you, who want to buy your work and spread the word about what you're doing. So please don't feel like you can't put your work out in the world and market yourself. So, okay, I'm off my little soapbox. Let's get back to our regularly scheduled program. So how do you apply this information to your craft business? How do you apply it to your marketing? How do you apply this to your product photography, your descriptions, and so on? And I think the first thing is that you really need to know who your customer is. I think you need to really identify what your products do for somebody, because you're selling more than just a product. You're not just selling a hat or a painting or a vase. You're selling the experience, the feeling that customers are going to have when they buy from you and they have your product in their hands, or when they give it to somebody, say it's like a gift. So I think really being able to understand and tap into that is going to be really, really, really important to not only help you, sell your work, but be able to build a brand that really stands out and differentiates you from other people in the space. Because, if we look at Starbucks, has, I don't even know how many stores globally, but little mom and pop coffee shops are still popping up, and there is space for everybody in the coffee world. And there's space for every maker out there who's selling their product. So you need to kind of really identify what makes you different, what makes your products different, how does your product make somebody's life better? How does it transform their life? Where would you see, the change in your customer's life? Do they feel more cozy? Do they feel more relaxed with your product? Do they feel more focused, and that type of thing? And really thinking about, how can you see that customer's life change, right? Thinking about, if you sell like an art piece, now when they come home, they see your piece the first thing that they walk into the door, and it really puts a smile on their face after they've had a really long day, or it, helps them pause and really be present of, oh, I'm like actually home. It feels really good. So tapping into that stuff, I think, is going to be really, really important for you. Storytelling is super powerful, and I think every maker should be using it in their business. And the reason is storytelling dates back to, I don't even know what year in human history. We thrive and enjoy hearing stories and telling stories. And it's an important area of marketing because stories sell. So when you're thinking about putting your work out in the world, talking about a story or including some bits of storytelling in your product descriptions can be really, really powerful. The other thing is, because I'm all about product photography, you can infuse storytelling in your product photos with lifestyle stuff, with props and lighting, and the whole kind of like setup can really help make it easy for your customers to click through your listing photos and really feel that pull, really feel like, oh, I really would love that. Like, I want that experience. So here's a really kind of quick example of how storytelling and kind of tapping into the emotions of your customers can really help you just kind of like transport your customers to another space. So if you put yourself in the shoes of a ceramicist, you have a vase that you're looking to list online, and you have your standard product shots, the product shots that are set against a white background, photographed your products from several different angles. but you need a photo that just really paints the story and really brings your product to life. So you can do something like putting a bunch of wildflowers in your vase, placing it on a coffee table, and having a whole cute little tea setup for, some friends to come over. That can be a really great image to post in your product description or your product listing. Another thing you could do is, if you want to do something very different and have a different feel, you can photograph that product with a single giant plant leaf in the vase and have it placed on a like a nightstand, on the side of a bed with some books nicely stacked and the morning sun coming in, and it just looks like a very cozy, welcoming space when somebody wakes up in the morning. Now tell me that doesn't make you feel anything. It does, and I think that's why photos are so powerful when it comes to selling, because it just helps people visualize and tap into what's possible for them. Another thing that can really help you connect to your customers and really kind of invoke that emotion is by including photos of you and some behind the scenes shots of you creating your work. So many customers nowadays, especially on Etsy, have a really hard time figuring out who is an actual handmade business and who's a reseller. And one way to really make you stand out and really connect with your customers and really show them that you're the real thing is by including these behind the scenes photos, having a video showing, maybe your studio or you creating something. And I think that is a really powerful way to help your customers just feel included in the process, have insight into what it is you do and what you make, and potentially help them feel more comfortable and that they can trust you and that they're really getting a high quality product when they buy from you. So those are a couple of really great tips that I hope can really help you tap into the emotion and infuse your product listings so that you can really connect with the right customers and sell your products online. Okay, so that is the video for today, and I hope the information I shared with you in this video will motivate you to go make improvements to your product listings so that you can better connect with customers and sell your products easily online. If you need more product photography tips, make sure you subscribe to this channel, and don't forget to check out my website, sunsetshutterbug.com, where I share even more information there. And don't forget to check the description below, and you'll find some links to some great PDF downloads that can help you improve your product photos today. So that is all, and I hope you guys have a great day. Bye.